The memories of lost loved ones stay with us, and the same can be said about our pets.
That is true. Pet cremation allows people to remember their lost little loved ones. And as our KLTV7's Andrew Culver reports tonight, it is a growing industry.
Cremation for pets, I never thought about. I knew one day it would probably be something because with humans, it's the same way.
Charles Rader turned to cremation to remember two of his best friends, MJ and Lucy.
I personally had a dog cremated, and then when my daughter, a dog that died, it really came to mind of how important it is for the personal connection with the person and their pet.
The pet cremation goes across all spectrums of people. You can't categorize one type of person other than to say they love their pet tremendously.
Rod Knighten is the owner of Rolling Meadows Pet Crematory in Longview. According to Globe News Wire, an increase of about $330 million is predicted to be spent in the pet funeral industry over the next 6 years.
Over the years, the cremation business has really gone through a transition. If you can mention a reptile or an animal, chances are we've cremated it.
For Rolling Meadows, this includes parrots, iguanas, monkeys, and small horses. And for traditional cat and dog owners, Rader says there are many ways to remember those final memories.
In the funeral business, I know people put their pets in with their casket when they're buried because they have that connection. And I think cremation gives people that option that they didn't have before.
It brings them closure, much like a funeral would bring closure for a family member, because pets are family members.
Andrew Culver, KLTV7 News.
Certainly are. After the cremation, paw print, specialized urns, and jewelry can be specific tokens that can go along to remember your lost pets.